Good morning. Thank you for coming. I'm honored that the defense attaches of 12 countries that took part in the Korean War under the flag of the United Nations and ambassadors are here with us. I'm also honored to be joined by the Honorable Park Seung-chun, Minister of Patriots and Veterans Affairs from Korea. Thank you. I'm grateful to Mr. J. Norbert Riener and the Korean War Veterans Armistice Day Coordinating Committee for their good and noble work in organizing the event. We gather here every year on this day. We come to remember the forgotten war, as it is often called, and we come to remember that freedom is not free, as is inscribed here. The Korean people have not forgotten and never will forget the sacrifices that were made for their freedom. More than 180,000 UN soldiers gave their lives to preserve the freedom of the Republic of Korea that most of them knew very little about. Korean presidents, cabinet ministers, National Assembly members, war veterans, and citizens by the thousands have visited this memorial to pay homage to the Korean war veterans who fought for their freedom. Their blood was not spilled in vain. Korea today has a $1 trillion economy, which is the world's 15th largest. We are a member of the OECD and the G20. Once a recipient of foreign aid, we are now a donor of it. And we just won the competition to host the 2018 Winter Olympics. More important though, Korea's relationship with the United States has evolved from dependency to partnership. We work side by side to promote peace and stability, not just on the Korean Peninsula, but around the world. There is a Korean provincial reconstruction team in Afghanistan now, supporting US-led stabilization and reconstruction efforts. There's a Korean destroyer in the Gulf of Aden, contributing to anti-piracy operation off the coast of Somalia. After the earthquake last year in Haiti, Korean military and emergency services went there to help the country get back on its feet, and they are still there. None of this would have been possible if the United States and its allies had not come to our aid in 1950. While South Korea is a prosperous, democratic, and free country, the Korean Peninsula is still divided. The Cold War is still going on there, as illustrated by North Korea's two unprovoked and malicious attacks on our ship and territory last year. They still hope to reunify the two Koreas under communist rule. The Korea and the US government were of one mind in responding to these provocations. We went together to the UN Security Council and we made it clear to the regime in Pyongyang that any further attacks would be dealt with severely. The danger that this situation poses shows beyond doubt that the Korea-US alliance is still critical to keeping the peace on the Korean Peninsula. That being the case, I'm happy to say that the alliance today is as strong as it's ever been, and both our governments are working hard to keep it strong through the 21st century. Lastly, I want to remind everyone here that our government has for years been inviting Korean war veterans, their families, and their descendants to come to Korea and see for themselves the results of their service. That invitation is still open, and we will remain so for a long time. I hope you will accept it. The Korean people will welcome you with warmth and respect. Thank you. Thank you very much.